There are now a bunch of whispers in the political world, y'all, that Christie will be announcing a 2024 presidential campaign very shortly. So here on MSNBC, they talked about it a little bit. Mike Murphy, this guy on air here, is a Republican strategist, and he's going to give us some insight into what exactly is going on here.
What is Chris Christie doing?
Oh, he's lighting a stick of dynamite and running right at Donald Trump. This is going to be entertaining. He will be the popcorn candidate. He will be. Look. Last time in 2016, he focused on New Hampshire. He came in 6th. Voters don't necessarily dig the guy, but catalytically, to affect the process, he can be very powerful. I was joking on Twitter, the first debate will be in August, and if Trump shows up and Christie is there, I will send the moderator one of those guard dog training gloves, because Christie will just go for Trump's throat, and he's the one guy who can kind of, his bombast is Trump level, so it's kind of a fair fight. The other candidates may not love the distraction, but it'll be a problem for the Donald.
Well, I guess I wonder, because Christie said pretty publicly and vehemently he is not here to be a stick of dynamite. This is a quote from Politico. "I'm not a paid assassin." When you're waking up for your 45th morning at the Hilton Garden Inn in Manchester in New Hampshire, you'd better think you can win, because that walk from the bed to the shower, if you don't think you can win, it's hard. I mean,
he said the words, and I quote, "I'm not a paid assassin." Nobody said you were paid. Nobody said that. Now I think he is a paid assassin. I do. I'm not kidding. And it didn't occur to me before, but now it actually makes perfect sense. So for those of you who don't know, Chris Christie and Donald Trump have a long history. Now, there was talk in 2016 when it was clear Trump was going to be the nominee. Hey, who are we going to pick for our vice president? And Trump and many around him said, go with Governor Chris Christie. And word got around to Chris Christie. He was excited. He was ready. But at the last minute, he got axed. Now, why did he get axed? Because Chris Christie put Jared Kushner's dad in jail. He prosecuted him. And Jared Kushner spoke to his dad, and he was like, no, don't do it. So Trump backed down at the last minute. Chris Christie felt like somebody stabbed him in the back with a knife and twisted it. And so ever since then, he sort of had it out for Trump. There was no, maybe he could have been put somewhere else in the administration or whatever, but he ended up getting bupkis. He got nothing. And this is after Chris Christie had clearly cut a deal with Trump, because Christie was acting as Trump's assassin against all of Trump's enemies. Remember when he went after Little Marco in the debates and obliterated him? You remember that? So there's a lot of personal history here, and Christie feels slighted. Now, this is a guy who holds a grudge. He believes in revenge. He believes in retribution. He's gunning for Trump now. So there's the personal angle where he wanted to do this anyway, but now hearing him say, I'm not a paid assassin, that makes me go, well, nobody accused you of that. Why are you saying you're not a paid assassin? Look at whatever happens to Christie after this whole fiasco. Because if he gets a job somewhere and gets a huge paycheck, whoever is giving him that paycheck also paid for him to be an anti-Trump assassin this time around. Now, the hard part for Christie is going to be, can you get on the debate stage, right? Like, that's his biggest problem. His biggest problem is, do you have any juice left to get your ass to like 4% in the polls to then get on the debate stage? And that's a big question mark. Honestly, I lean on the side of no, he's not going to get it. But look, I hope he does, because clearly he's running a kamikaze mission here. Like, he's just going to go back at Trump with just as much bombast, just as much aggression as Trump goes at everybody else. And when you have somebody who's running who really doesn't care about winning, and his job is just, I'm going to screw with this guy Trump. I mean, Trump will do his best to joust and handle it and take care of it, but it might knock a couple points off his support. Because you guys forget, prime Chris Christie was a verbal jouster with the best of them. So it'll be interesting, man. It will be interesting.
He's saying this earnestly, apparently, and yet the Washington Post reports that 70% of likely Republican voters will not consider supporting Chris Christie if he actually runs.
Well, look, I agree. He's not a paid assassin. He'll do it for free and for fun. You know, this is their Secret Service code names ought to be Ralph and Ethel. They both love to fight Trump and Christie, and Christie's been for Trump, against him again, then back for him, then against him. What I think is really going on beyond the assassination part is all these challengers to Trump smell vulnerability. Now, you couldn't even talk about running against Trump 2 years ago. But now there's such a feeling in the party among a majority of Republican primary voters, and the polling backs it up, not to go out and be anti-Trump so much as move beyond him. He's a loser. He's going to lose to Biden. He's crazy. So you got DeSantis saying, hey, I'm younger. I have all Trump's enemies. I'm tougher. I can beat Biden. I'm kind of Trump light, you know, less risk, less calories. That's one campaign. Tim Scott is I'm more of a Reagan-esque non-grievance candidate, move beyond Trump. He's got something to sell. And then Christie will be the one who thinks these other guys are so intimidated by Trump, I can actually go to the electorate in the early states and say, look, I'll tell you the way it is. This guy's a stone-cold loser. You all know it in your heart. I'm a fighter. Let me go get Biden.
Now, by the way, that's also DeSantis stumbled across that argument recently, too. The idea of like, look, you might not like it, but the fact of the matter is we lost in 2018 because of Trump, 2020 because of Trump, and 2022 because of Trump. So yeah, he was a winner in 2016. Those days are long gone. And that is an argument. If you can get the Republican base to care about electability, then yeah, maybe they'd move past the Trump era. But at least as of right now, they don't care about electability. But it looks like they're going to fire a whole bunch of cannons at Trump and hope for the best. Look, you always run the risk of it making him stronger anyway, or him staying with the same amount of support. I mean, I don't know if it'll work, but it'll be good to see an all guns blazing approach. It'll be fun to watch. So I'm looking forward to that. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.